Blowout is a 2003 run-and-gun shooter-style video game that was developed by Terminal Reality and published by Majesco Entertainment for the Windows PC, PlayStation 2, Xbox and Nintendo GameCube in 2003. And this game plays from a 2.5D side-scrolling playstyle and acts with elements of platforming thrown into the mix. So the game plays like a 2D platformer, but it has 3D graphics and visuals. And the game would take a lot of inspiration from other game series known more notably with Contra and Metal Slug, that offers up a non-linear type of approach to the exploration structure of each of the levels, where the player takes on the role of a space marine that has to explore a massive spaceship and to eliminate various threats, enemies and mutations and other types of aliens that situate threat each of the levels. So it is up to the player to explore each of the levels while eliminating enemies, completing objectives, flicking switches to open up other areas to explore, and also to find hidden secrets so that you can upgrade your character attributes and weapons, because you start off with a standard machine gun, but you can also upgrade and gain access to other weapons with the likes of explosive like rocket launchers, shotguns, grenade launchers, and even upgrade your character abilities and attributes that you can gain different types of shields and different types of armor so that you can take more damage as you play, and you can also inflict more damage upon your enemies depending on the weapon types that you gain access to and that you can upgrade. So it does have some really unique elements, although because you're in the same type of environments in the game, in some cases because there's 10 levels in total in the game, and for many gamers the experience can become quite repetitive after a while, and this would lead to the mixed or average reviews seen across all platforms with regards to various game magazines, as it would have been one of the many arguments stating that the game had much to offer and it did have some good features, but it just wasn't as well polished compared to other games seen on the PlayStation at that time. And again, this game wouldn't really have been more so of a AAA entry. It would have been more kind of in the midline between AAA and more budget kind of style elements, as some of the gameplay features just wouldn't have been as well polished or well put together compared to more mainstream games that would have been also added to the PlayStation's lineup of games. So it's kind of in that middle ground of decent games but that wouldn't have really hit that peak, if you know what I mean. But it really just depends on your own preferences and play style. Like even for myself playing this, I do remember playing this years ago and it was enjoyable for what I could get into at the time. Mind you, I didn't get very far, so having to get the opportunity to revisit the game and to experience it again, I did manage to get further in it, believe it or not, with recording this video. And the funny thing is, yes, there is elements of the game that can feel somewhat repetitive at times, because a lot of the level elements look very, very similar to each other. The only advantage you have at your disposal is a map that you can clearly see where exactly you are in the level at any given time, and that's really the only way that you will know exactly where you're supposed to be or where you're supposed to go, because if you didn't have that, because the levels look very similar in terms of the environmental textures and hazards, it'd be very easy for you to get lost and just get completely stuck as to where you're supposed to go next. And even with regards to gaining access to other secrets and even eventually creating shortcuts to get to other areas, you need to find other areas to blow open a wall or to destroy some sort of wall that'll allow you to go back to an area that you've been in, but you can only destroy it from one side. So that can also add to the confusion, but it will take a bit of trial and error to figure those elements out. But from having spent time playing it, the more I found playing it, the more I started to enjoy it and get into it. But there is times, I will admit, that the game can become a little bit repetitive and you will get stuck with certain elements trying to figure out where the next key card is or where you have to be at a certain point. So that can add to the frustration for some players. But there's a lot of exploration in this game. If you genuinely do like these type of 2D kind of side-scroller type games that do allow for exploration, that doesn't approach the game from a linear perspective, you really can, within the level itself, you can go anywhere you want to go within reason, as long as you have access to keycard and so forth. There is a lot of exploration in the game, so if that's something you're into, this game will give you that. It's not a bad game, in fairness. It is what it is. It has some nice elements, it has some pretty cool features, but again, just wouldn't have been as well polished or well laid out compared to other games. But again, it is what you make of the experience. Not all games are bad. Some games have some really nice elements, but it's just another one of those games that you would have to sit down and put time into and just be patient with it to get the most out of it. But I would love to know your thoughts of Blowout for the PS2, or whichever version of the game you have played on, whether you've played on the PC, Xbox, or even the GameCube. And I'd love to know your thoughts on this game and what you think of it overall. So be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be updated with future videos. And if you would like to see more content on the channel around other types of games similar to this that was also released on the PS2, then you can check out the playlist here on screen to see more of those games in action. And I will see you all in the next one.
Level 8.